At first glance, Speedball looks like training suitable only for a boxer. But in fact, there's ample evidence that this simple device is one of the greatest all-round training aids available for athletes of both sexes in all sporting disciplines. Physical educator and former football star Barry Davis explains why.
Well, we have two basic energy systems, the aerobic energy system and the anaerobic energy system. The aerobic used basically for long distance work, marathon running. The anaerobic energy system used for short sustained bursts of energy such as you use in basketball or tennis. And both of these systems can be trained using Speedball work.
We found that Speedball, given that we have the right work-rest ratios, can demand enormous amounts of the cardiovascular system in the same way as running or swimming might. So as a facilitator of aerobic work, I think that's been very, very useful.
Yes, Speedball training greatly benefits the heart-lung function, exercises the shoulders, chest, arms, trunk and legs, and works both sides of the body equally for symmetrical development.
Not only that, of course, you get an added gain in strength, muscular endurance, reflexes are improved, coordination is improved, the ability to concentrate on a given task for longer periods, of course, is improved. I guess the other major benefit of Speedball training for trainers and for coaches is in the rehabilitation area. When athletes have an injury, they don't want to have long hours out on the track pounding on hard surfaces, and Speedball training is certainly beneficial in regard to recovery from injury.
British soccer club Heart of Midlothian uses Speedball as an integral part of team training. Their fitness coach is former top international sprinter George McNeil.
One of the benefits, and we found that particularly this season with one of our top players in this club, a fellow called Craig Levine, who was sidelined in January through a cruciate ligament injury to his knee and required an operation. And it was some time, obviously, before he was going to be able to run again. But he was able to continue to punch the Speedball.
McNeil, a Powder Hall Sprint and Stall gift winner and one of the fastest professional runners ever, has also witnessed the remarkable benefits of Speedball to injured players.
And even though he was out from the running point of view for all these many months, one fear is that when you come back from a long-term injury such as this, is that you may have lost a half a yard or a yard in speed, which is, for Craig, is particularly important because he's probably the fastest player at the club. But I'm finding that now, as a result of having spent so much time in the gymnasium, he's actually faster than he was when he had to go off with the injury.
I've always believed it's been a terrific assistance with hand-eye coordination, again with players who can't get out in the field and run and catch and kick and do the normal things that football requires of them. Whilst injured, can maintain that coordination, that skill and technique by the use of a fantastic piece of equipment in Speedball.
Developed by Scottish-born Jim Bradley, Speedball is now widely accepted as a valuable component of sports conditioning. Bradley, a highly successful coach of professional athletes in Britain and later Australia, pioneered the use of Speedball as a training method, not only for runners, but for all sports where strength, speed, endurance and coordination are important. After taking up residence in Victoria, he convinced VFL football clubs that Speedball should be incorporated into their training routines, not only for the players' all-round fitness, but also for rehabilitation from injury. His ideas were enthusiastically taken up by many coaches, including David Parkin, now Director of Coaching for the Victorian Football League.
I've been associated in the last 12 or 13 years with 3 different football clubs, all of whom have used Speedball as part of their training routines. We've incorporated the running with the Speedball and working on bags, but particularly the Speedball, and we found that with pairs of players working together, we can work out a work-rest ratio regime that suits those players, and they work exceedingly hard.
The legendary Australian footballer and successful coach, Ron Barassi, was sceptical at first.
As a coach, Jim Bradley is an enthusiast for it, came to me, sold me on the idea. I stood back and watched because a salesman is always biased. but it proved itself to me as a coach. I saw the players enjoy it and saw them benefit from it. And it's been around the world a long time, and things don't stay in sport. New things don't hang around if they don't work, because it's not like Civvy Street where we follow fashion slavishly, the wider tie or narrower tie, etc. In sport there's only one thing that's kept on being followed, and that's the thing that wins. That's all that sports people are interested in. But Speedball, when you look at it, I think it's excellent for timing and rhythm and balance. It's obviously very good for the upper body and very good for arm strength, and in running, be it speed or endurance, which is both in football, you must have good arm speed and good arm strength, so it's an obvious winner.
So Jim Bradley and his Speedball have proved successful with football clubs on both sides of the world, and likewise with athletes.
I figure that the world of sprinting, certainly the British world of sprinting, owes a great deal to Jim Bradley, because he formed the bridge between all those areas of potential that we felt our athletes had and the actual fulfillment of that potential.
Frank Dick, the British Amateur Athletic Association's Director of Coaching and coach of the National Olympic Track and Field team, has long been an advocate of Speedball.
Well, I first became aware, quite honestly, through Jim Bradley, because you'll have gathered from my accent that we've come from the same part of the world, the Edinburgh area. And Jim spoke to me at some length about it at one point. To be quite honest, I was a little sceptical at that time. Did try it, but was a total convert after that.
Frank Dick has a close association with many of Britain's most successful athletes.
Well, from a personal coaching point of view, Cameron Sharp was a Commonwealth medalist. Fatima Whitbread actually at one point was using it for part of a striking technique over a head. Alan Wells, as you probably are well aware, is a great advocate of the Speedball. Daley Thomason's currently working on it.
But Speedball can assist the lower profile athlete quite dramatically as well.
There's a lad, Jim Evans, who'd been in the track and field for a long time. His best ever performance was 10.78, and he worked Speedball with the rest of a fairly complex program for 2 years, and he came down to 10.31, which is, I guess that doesn't sound sort of world-shattering times, but it probably gives an indication that even somebody who is middle of the road sort of sprinting can actually substantially improve. Cameron Sharp, of course, when I started to work with Cameron, he was 16-year-old and he was running 11 point something or other. He finished up with 10.20, and that's quite quick.
George McNeil, a winner at Stawell and Powder Hall, tells a similar story.
I contacted a fellow called Jim Bradley, who came one night to the house and explained things that I had never heard of in my life before. He said that he wanted to make me into a sprinter, and the first thing I would have to do is to spend a few months in the gymnasium and not even look at a track, which was the first surprise. He told me to forget all about my legs and to concentrate on my upper body and my arm action, and he was going to show me a series of exercises designed to develop the upper body, which he reckoned propelled you down the track. He reckoned that the arms propelled the legs, and that by strengthening the upper body and the arms and shoulder girdle, this was where you would find your improvement. And his module for doing this was the Speedball. I went along with it because I was prepared to go along with anything that I thought might improve me, and I didn't know the first thing about sprinting, and it took me from, in 1 year, from running about 10.4 for 100 yards, probably improved me about 8 yards.
Whilst Jim Bradley and his Speedball routine had its beginnings in the relatively small sphere of professional foot running, the word had spread to the athletics world in general.
One of Jim Bradley's disciples, Wilson Young, took up coaching, and he coached Alan Wells, who is probably the biggest name to have used the method, and Alan's record speaks for itself with Commonwealth Games medals and Olympic gold medal. You can't go any higher than that.
So what does Speedball have that provides this winning edge? VFL Ironman Shane Hurd shows us. Shane's strength apparent in the excellent development of chest, shoulders, neck and arms, can be attributed to his use of the speedball over a period of time. People with back trouble gain special benefit from speedball. The trunk rotation strengthens the muscles surrounding the spine. The rhythmical, alternating leg action improves leg strength and speed without risk of torn muscles. A variety of routines can be employed to give complete muscle development of both upper arms and forearms, important in virtually all sports. Working out regularly with the speedball improves muscle endurance and gives an athlete the ability to recover rapidly from exertion. Concentration is improved, along with balance, timing, and hand-eye coordination. Regular use of the speedball can do as much for your strength and development as longer sessions pumping iron in the gym, without the risk of muscle strain and other injuries related to weight training. And it's such a simple and enjoyable routine.
There's certain obvious advantages it has over weight training, in as much as if you're weight training and lifting fairly heavy weights, which a lot of them tend to do, you have to train in a group of 3 for a start, because 2 people have to spot and be there in case the weight falls, or in case of any the person who's lifting the weights gets into any difficulty. I think obviously there are people who have lifted weights, have had success with them. I just don't know. I only know that the method I've worked on for the last 20 years has been speedball, and I'm delighted with it. And I think it's a testament in itself that I've never been tempted to change to weight training.
To be quite honest, I've tried a lot of upper body development techniques, from weight training, medicine balls, so on, and there can be absolutely no doubt that speedball is singly the most significant improver of upper body strength.
There are many variations of the speedball exercise. Here, Ricky Dunbar demonstrates 5. Jim Bradley recommends aiming at working out daily on the speedball for 23 minutes. That is to say, 6 3-minute rounds with a 1-minute break between rounds, though it will take some time to build the necessary stamina. Considerable benefit will be gained from 3 workouts per week. Naturally, it also takes time to achieve the coordination that will produce the punching rate of VFL star Shane Hurd. So, let's start at the beginning. Adopt a square stance with the feet parallel and as wide apart as the width of your hips. The heels should be kept flat. Select a board or box to adjust your height so that your eyes are level with the widest part of the ball. Start by punching the ball slowly with one hand only to get the timing right. It'll probably take a bit of practice, but after a while you'll begin to get the hang of it. In slow motion, you can see that the hand makes contact with the speedball just before the ball returns to the vertical. Then switch to the other hand. When you feel you're beginning to acquire the rhythm, you can start using 2 hands. Gradually increase the punching speed. Be sure to allow hips and knees to move freely and rhythmically, alternating from side to side, so that the weight is always on the foot opposite to the punching hand. There are many variations on the basic exercise. You can even improvise your own. Ricky Dunbar takes us through some variations on the Bradley routine. This is the basic exercise to begin the workout. Start slowly, gradually increasing the punching speed. Concentrate on rhythm and timing. You'll find that once acquired, the rhythm is never lost. In this variation, the front and back of the hand strike the speedball alternately. This particularly improves upper arm and forearm strength. Notice how Ricky moves from side to side so that the whole body is involved in the exercise. Exercise 3 is excellent for improving hand-eye coordination. Both hands work together, alternating with right then left leading. Again, this demonstrates how Speedball involves not just the arms and shoulders, but every part of the body. The fourth variation, which Ricky Dunbar demonstrates, is of particular benefit to arms, shoulders and chest, bringing into play biceps, deltoids and pectorals. Exercise 5 again demonstrates how Speedball training involves the whole body with a full stretch from side to side. This part of the routine is excellent for improving hand-eye coordination and concentration. Speedball training, once you've acquired the knack and rhythm, is both enjoyable and easy. Why, you can even do it with your eyes shut. While we've used top male athletes in this program to best demonstrate Speedball training techniques, it must be emphasized that females can benefit equally from pursuing the routine.
I have girls that I coach, and they hit the Speedball just the same as the guys, and they have equally found that it improves their performance as well. One
girl I worked with for some time, I'm not quite sure this is a good selling point at all, to be quite honest, Lorna Booth, who's a Commonwealth silver medalist in 100 metres hurdles. Lorna, in one winter, went through 2 different sizes of blouse. Right? I'm not quite sure if that's a good selling point for the girls, but she developed very, very powerful shoulders. And as a result, actually, was moving much quicker over the hurdles and across the flat.
Speedball is good for everybody. General health can be improved and maintained by using this marvelous piece of equipment. Who of us would not benefit from improved muscular coordination, strength, balance, rhythm and timing? And perhaps most of all, our heart-lung function, including those getting on in years, as exemplified by Ricky Dunbar. At nearly 50, Speedball has kept him fitter than most people half his age.
Well, obviously, how you approach its use would vary according to age or whatever stage of development. But I would have thought, quite honestly, that an awful lot of the upper body problems that you get with age, the frozen shoulder sort of stuff and the stiffness in the neck and so on, I would have thought it's quite valuable to include, say, 30 seconds to 60-second bouts of work, but kept at a very, very steady rhythm, not going for any kind of quality in terms of speed of hitting the Speedball. And in doing so, you should at least be sure that you can keep the musculature strong at the base of the skull over the shoulders, and that in itself, of course, is very sound from a postural point of view.
I would recommend it to anyone. I've had occasions where people have been working on the Speedball and gone out and hit the golf ball 20 yards further. Now, whether that's psychological or whether it's, you know, physical, I'm not quite sure. But personally, I think that because it's a rhythm and timing mechanism, and you've got to develop this rhythm and timing, that's the same principle in any of these contact sports, whether it's kicking a ball or hitting a ball tennis-wise or hitting a ball on the golf course. It all involves timing, rhythm and power. And these are things that the Speedball gives you.